And welcome back, peeps. From that break, we are here in the JJ Zone, joining the Journey Radio, talking about what are we talking about? Sorry, I still got that Neil Diamond song in my head. For those of you who are not listening to the live broadcast on the Join the Journey Radio Network every Wednesday night, you're missing out on the music that I can play during the breaks. I can't really include it into the podcast because of copyright restrictions and licensing. It's just so expensive. So, I'm able to I'm able to secure the license to play it in a live broadcast on Wednesday evening, and I do that on Join the Journey Radio. So if you're missing out on that, be sure to tune in for that. And instructions on how to connect up with that are there on the website. Go to jointhejourneyradio.com and find out more about that. It's totally free. There's no cost involved with it. You just have to tune in every Wednesday night, and you can hear the tunes as well as the talk. So, what are we talking about today? I still got that Neil Diamond song in my head. Girl, you'll be a woman soon. Yeah. The thing about Neil Diamond is, I really think he's one of the greatest songwriters of the 20th century, just because the songs that he writes, um, he's not just writing the song, he's actually performing it too. And he's got the combination of it to where when you experience his combination of writing and performing, it sticks in your head. I mean, it's just one of those things. For me, it's like Phantom of the Opera. It's like I can't watch that. I like the film version. Oh, don't get me wrong, really, really good film version, but I cannot watch it just because um, I'll have the songs in my head for like 2 weeks after I watch the thing. I can't do it. I can't do it. I love it. I love the movie. I own a copy, but it just sits there on the shelf because I know I know the minute I put it in my player to watch it, I just know that I'm gonna be singing the songs in the head for the next 2 weeks. So it tends to just sit there on the shelf. But anyway, this is track. What are we talking? We're talking about how men and women need each other. This is why I need a woman in my life, peeps. Keep me on track. Keep me from getting distracted. Uh, you know, Still looking for that. And, I believe in the promises of the Lord that it's going to happen one day. Uh, really not sure how that's going to happen, but I look forward to that fulfillment of that promise. So, because women need each other. It's not like, men can't learn what they're missing that women can provide them on their own, and vice versa for women. It's not like a woman can't learn what she's missing and grow and become more than she was before, um, you know, outside of the help of men. But the learning curve is excruciatingly flat. It's a lot harder to make gains in that growth process when you're doing it by yourself. A lot harder. And, this is by design. I mean, it's by design. Men and women need each other. We were designed to be together and to help each other. I think too often, those of us in LDS dating circles have this conception of trying to find the perfect match where, we want someone who's developed a certain there's a certain amount of maturity that we want. And certainly, I think, in terms of emotional maturity, I think that's essential to make a standard there. But in terms of like eternal maturity, I think sometimes some of us want too much too soon, and we expect there to be the benefit without understanding that in order to get that benefit, you've got to go through this process, this journey, let's call it, where you need the help of the other. So expecting a man to reach a certain level of perfection before you start dating him, well, that may not be really practical because uh, he needs the help of a woman to get to that point of maturity. And so, we could say the same thing, just flip flop it around. It's not really appropriate for a man to expect a certain level of eternal maturity from a woman if there's no man in her life to help her reach that level of maturity. It's life experience that helps with that. And it's life experience with the opposite gender. That's what really helps it out. You know, Men, as I was saying in the monologue, are biologically hardwired to think with intellectual logic. Women are biologically hardwired to think with emotional logic. So this is why when, ever like a woman has a problem in her life and she's talking to her man about it, I'm assuming she has a man, she's talking to her significant other about it. And she just goes on and on about, you know, feelings. It's like, oh, it made me feel this, and oh, I felt this horrible, and oh, it just the emotions of it. And the man's just sitting there like, well, okay, if you solve the problem, you won't feel bad anymore. Let's solve the problem. But the woman doesn't really want to solve the problem. The woman wants to connect emotionally because she's thinking with emotional logic. So what she really wants is not a solution to the problem. What she wants is an emotional connection with her significant other so that she feels what she wants to feel. And then the problem will be solved because the real problem is not what she's complaining about. The real problem is what she's feeling. She's not feeling what she wants to feel. And so, from an emotional logic perspective, the solution to the real problem is let's feel what we want to feel. Let's quit feeling what we don't want to feel and replace that feeling with what we do want to feel. And that's why she doesn't want to talk about an actual solution to the perceived problem, because the real problem is not what she's complaining about. The real problem is what she's feeling inside. Very often, the man doesn't need to do anything more than just sit there and listen. Just be attentive, nod, make sure you're listening. You might want to, ask some reflective questions. So what you're saying is, I want to make sure I understand you. Just to give her those cues that let you know that you really are listening. And very often that's all that's needed to help her feel the way she wants to feel. That's really what it's all about. Really, if we could just learn to think in the way that the other thinks, I think there's so much of what we're doing with dating that could just be so much more enjoyable for us. You know, I look back on the experiences that I had when I was in my 20s, and one of the questions that I continuously asked myself was, why does this have to be so hard? And why does this have to be so painful and awkward? Why do we have to hurt each other when we're doing this dating thing? Why can't we just like be good to each other? Why does it have to hurt so much? And what I didn't understand then that I do understand now are the fundamentals of the dating journey combined with an understanding, or I wouldn't say like, when I say an understanding, I'm not talking about a complete understanding. I'm talking about a better understanding. Let's put it that way. A better understanding of how men and women think and the differences between them. The differences between the natural man and the natural woman on one hand, and the covenant man and the covenant woman on the other hand. Understanding all these different things has really just brought a new perspective to me about the dating journey that we have as Latter-day Saint singles, and specifically my own dating journey as a Latter-day Saint single. And I'm able to take the hurt that I experienced in my younger days when I was just an ignoramus. I didn't know any of this. And things that we talk about here on Join the Journey Radio and on the World of Ted. I was taking these things in, and it helped me to understand it. But before I did that, before I even understood any of these principles, I was just like, what is this dating thing? Why does this have to be so hard? I'm just trying to do the right thing here. Why do I have to be hurt so bad? And I think a lot of that could just be, relieved and massaged if we could just understand the fundamentals of the dating journey, the fundamentals of what we're trying to do. It's, for lack of a better word, it's so fundamental, right? It's so fundamental. I'm able to let go of a lot of those hurt. I'm able to understand that for the most part, people weren't trying to be cruel. People were simply trying to do the best they could. When I understand the situation from the woman's perspective, by understanding better how she thinks and processes her world, then it's easier for me to be more patient and more forgiving. It's easier for me to understand, okay, this is a better response in this situation. So that moving forward, I can avoid a lot of those, really hurtful situations. It clears up so much. And so that's what we're going to talk about here today. We're going to talk about the details about, I'm going to dig in more. We're coming up to a break now. So I want to dig in more about how men and women think and apply it to specific situations so that we can be like have a greater understanding of, these different scenarios that we run into in our dating journey. And, this is really what it's going to come down to is, understanding the fundamentals, understanding the way men and women think, understanding the differences between the natural man and the natural woman on one hand, and the covenant man and the covenant woman on the other hand. So all this is necessary for us to have maximum joy in our dating journey, especially when that journey gets elongated and we don't really know where the end's going to be. So let's go ahead and take that break. And after the break, we're going to dive into this. I will see you there on the other side.